Hi, I'm June Thomas, and I'm here today with this week's video endorsement. I'm here with Dana Stevens, and we're going to talk today about the ACT UP Oral History Project. ACT UP, as most people probably remember, was and still is an AIDS direct action group. ACT UP stands for AIDS Coalition to Unleash Power.
Well, I was a writer and was pretty good at research and organization, and I was a quick study and all that. So I thought, well, maybe this is the area I could get involved in and make a very, a quick dent. And so this was just the very first week. Iris said she was meeting everyone who was interested the next Monday before the meeting. And so I was there, and there were only like about 2 or 3 other people there, but Vito was one of them. And Marty Robinson, another long-term gay and AIDS activist, both Marty and Vito, of course, have since died, and Marty and Vito had this incredible love-hate relationship with each other. At that very first meeting, they were shouting at each other.
I find this really fascinating. I mean, it's very moving too, to see someone, kind of deal with pain, memories of people dying. But it just strikes me as such a contrast with the usual way that we see this kind of interview, which would be a tiny clip in the middle of, cut in with lots of other interviews in a documentary. And, we're also familiar with that, stop the cameras,
right,
when people cry.
Well, I was going to say, in a regular documentary, that would sort of be the climax of the interview and the whole point of the interview.
Right,
we got
right,
him to cry, right? Whereas here, I think, they're just sort of letting that happen and moving on.
Right.
So, in the middle of this painful conversation about whether or not it's appropriate to make t-shirts, Larry Kramer jumps up and screams, you sissies, people are dying and you're talking about t-shirts. So we just tabled that conversation and we took it on ourselves to make t-shirts. The coordinating committee just decided we should make t-shirts. I actually believe that's the only independent decision that the coordinating committee ever took. But we took that decision and we made the t-shirts. And we had a table at Gay Pride where Carl Sohnlein and Alan Klein tabled while the rest of us marched. And then afterwards, people took turns selling t-shirts from the table until by the end of the day, Larry Kramer had elbowed everyone out of the way and was thrusting t-shirts in people's faces and demanding that they buy them. And was just thrilled that he's making so much money. And, I was just like, Larry, you big sissy. You're like selling t-shirts and people are dying.
Talk about drama emerging from process. I mean, what's interesting is that as you watch these really dry talking head interviews with activists, you start to hear the same names and characters start to emerge. So that Michael Nesling, this guy that we just saw in the last clip talking about the gay writer and activist Larry Kramer being a drama queen at a meeting, is henceforth identified as a big drama queen himself.
One of the things that used to go on is that people used to be really, in quotes, bitchy queens. I mean, people would get after one another, okay? They could not just say, I don't agree with you, they would say. They would have to do some kind of theatrical number about it, People are dying! Why are you talking about that, And so this one meeting that I was at, it really had gotten very acrimonious, and also Michael Nesling was one of the he was the best at being a bitchy queen. Okay, like he could really do it. Okay, and he would just cut people off. If he didn't like them, he would get them off. I mean, he was actually a good facilitator, but he was really doing it that way.
I absolutely love Maxine Wolf. Of the few people in the, I think, hundreds that have been interviewed that I've watched, Maxine Wolf is my favorite because she's such a great storyteller and just has a wonderful way about her. And I think in this clip we're about to watch, she really puts her finger on what it was about ACT UP that felt so different as a political action group.
People felt that lives depended on them. That it wasn't like an abstract form of politics. There were people in that room who were infected. There were people in that room who had lovers who had died, people who had died. It was not a sort of an interesting political point. They had no institutional politics. They didn't come from some formation. They didn't have some previously set up way that you had to think. You know, it was kind of an anarchistic framework of, like, there were no principles of unity that you had to adhere to other than that you wanted to end the AIDS crisis.
I think Maxine Wolf does a great job of really pinpointing what those differences were in terms of the politics of the group.
In a way that makes this series of oral histories almost as well like some kind of primer on how to organize political action.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Which, if the left could listen to right now, they might be in better shape.
Indeed.